Hey, everybody, welcome to the Tech-Mex Podcast. We're your hosts, Eric and Mando, and this is episode 92, number 92. We're bringing you the top stories in Bitcoin tech and wealth. So maybe you can train your own robot too. What do you think about that? Dale.
Ooh, that tickles my soul, man. When I was I don't know, 17 years old, um, that was kind of where I really liked technology. It was in that time. That's when I started getting aware. And there was this computer. Not sure if you remember this company, Commodore. And there was a specific one, Commodore 64. That was my first computer. It was in the 80s. Um, I feel that one was even a little bit earlier. I need to double check. By the way, these guys came back right now with a new computer. I think that they call it Amiga or something like that.
Okay.
But I was about to get it because, like, just the freaking nostalgia that was my first computer. But long story short, robots was my kind of the other area that is like, man, I want a robot. And I start fiddling with robots, mechanical robots in when I was like in my teens. And it hasn't been able to kind of speed up, but now with AI, man, which those are kind of the topics that we have, right?
Yeah,
So
the
what
dream's coming true. We're gonna get there. Seems like pretty fast. I know. So, and we started off with the so you can train your robot. We're gonna dig into that and some AI stuff, but I think that's like the ultimate thing. I mean, I think it's gonna be super cool, super fun. I think we both studied robotics or robots, electrical design, electronic design, stuff like that in college. Um, but before that, I didn't really like my exposure to robots was like the Jetsons, like Rosie. I'm like, that's what I need at home. I think that'd be cool, right? So like, but and of course, I got into computers and PCs early, also in the '80s as well. But I think all the culmination of the technologies right now is pretty cool, right? We see AI, robotics are coming along, the motors are coming along. It's gonna be pretty cool. Battery technology is coming along, density.
I think that all these technologies converging. I We have chatted this even now off camera that because we know so many years ago ourselves, and we always see these trends, and we are getting very freaking good on on these trends, right? So it's funny because when we were in in our 20s, we saw the mobile industry, and we saw it, and we were playing with mobile apps, we were developing our apps, but we didn't jump into the bandwagon, right? And then we saw, in this case, like some of the VR, right? We did the same, right? You got the Oculus. So then we jump now into freaking Bitcoin, right? In that time, in the very early, right? In the 2000, I don't know, 12, 13, right? And now I can tell you, like, hey, this is with AI, the conversion on robotics. It is literally what it needed. It needed LLMs. It needed all of this AI,
Needed the brain, right?
the brain, because if you notice, we have already very good motors as it is. We already have very good manufacturing on some of the parts. That now is the brain, and the brain is
At least
AI.
offshore manufacturing, right?
We'll discuss that later, but
Yeah.
but yeah. So that's the reason why I'm very excited on this, because sometimes what the nerds they do in their free time uh, is literally what sparks in the next 5-10 years, right? And let me tell you, that's right now what I'm doing in my free time. Is just learning about these robotics and these things that they are out there, which they are very nice products out there, even open source. And but it's still hard. It hasn't the tools that they are there. They are not easy peasy. I feel that there is a lot of room for improvement. What do you think?
Yeah, there's still a lot of room for improvement, but I think we're kind of at a precipice right now with especially the LLMs and AI. So jumping into our first topic, I saw this video by AI in Context YouTube channel where he's talking about we're not really ready for super intelligence, and the whole premise of his video is he summarizes the AI 2027 report, and it's a report that came out which is kind of like you hear a lot of the fear mongering that's kind of going on. Terminator AI is going to take us over and things like that. Well, they put it in a kind of narrative form, like how are things going to play out? And really, it's more so like as a warning, I think, because they wanted to explore some of the potential, and that's a key word, potential dangers of rapid acceleration, with a like this the story of a race to build a superhuman artificial general intelligence, or AGI, or a super intelligence. And I want you guys, I think it's important to go to check this video out. I don't agree with necessarily everything uh, that this guy was saying, or that again, he was summarizing an AI 2027 report, which was put together by a lot of the leading AI people in the industry. But they put out there a possibility of what could happen if we don't get if we don't get necessarily our story straight or our strategy straight about how to control AI. So have you heard about this, or are you aware kind of like how some people are getting scared of like the AI in the future, stuff like that, Mondo?
Yeah, and I think that is also Hollywood hasn't helped it neither, right? So I think that we are a bit far away from that, but we are going towards that, which is kind of the singularity point, right? Um, uh, right now, I can tell you that it's very hard to grab the LLM and actually put the body, right? Like that part is still in development. You see a few companies, and yeah, they're flipping and they're like doing all of these different shows and all of that. But even right now, they are being programmed, hard coded to cannot do that. But it will be interesting if you grab any of those robots and put it in your house, and it's like, hey, instead of your Alexa, hey Alexa, make my dishes, right? So in order to do Optimus or whatever, just pick the name, the company that you like for that robot. That's the reason why they haven't come up. And if they do, I really think that they're gonna be in 100K. But this is kind of the battle of entrepreneurs, right? And different even countries, how you can able to make it cheaper and faster and more intelligent in at least amount of time. But yeah, I'm not sure on these. I think that is more psychologically on people how they're gonna perceive with having humans in the around. I have a very simplistic view though, and my simplistic view is that it's like, are you scared of a car? It's like it's a tool. It takes you from one place to another place, right? It can kill you,
Yeah.
right? Like and multiple people, right? Because they're depending on. But I feel that in one point when there were no roads and there were no streets, and maybe yeah, there were horses, but cars are faster, right? Um, it's just that transition where we are at the moment. Where is that transition when the psychological aspect of having that machine around us? I just that's the reason why I think that it has to be humanoid instead of an insect or weird looking, because that might be even more freaking scary, man. Imagine if you freaking see the size of a roach and with the shape of a roach, like, oh, what the fuck, man? But if you see like maybe a smaller, thinner, like
Mm.
in a ways like yeah, a smaller robot is not intimidating. So I think that that's key on the designing of these robots. That doesn't they don't look angry, they don't look like
Mhm.
threatening. That it will be okay with society.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so in the case of like right, we're talking about like some friendly looking humanoids in the Hollywood movies. We had like the Terminator and stuff like that. Some of those images still linger and are a little bit scarier to some people, but it goes back to the problem, and this is the problem that's highlighted in this video, that AI in context refers to, and that's the alignment problem. And the alignment problem is basically, which is like one of the key critical issues, is ensuring that the AI's goals, or the LLM, the AI, your robot's goal, is aligned with human values. And so that's why they call it alignment. It's kind of a little bit of a friendlier term, but basically how they're saying, hey, is the AI's brain going to be aligned with human values? Like, are they going to, one, see value in human life? Are they going to be see value in how a human society operates? Are they going to see value in how we make decisions with governments and things like that? So that's one of the things that's highlighted is, are we going to be able to make AI robots be in alignment? And
Mm-hmm.
they set up this scenario in this video, or in the AI 2027 report, which I encourage you guys to go check out, read, where right now we obviously have like the West, where we have OpenAI, Anthropic, Grok, right? We have our big players in LLM and in our LLM world, or but then there's also China, where we have
This
DeepSeek, we
this
have
little country
Quinn,
with
you know.
few people, right?
And so at the start of any good like movie, you see people being set up as like the good guys and the bad guys, and that's how AI 2027 report is saying. I'm not saying that. I think competition is good, but this is the fictional narrative that they put together that says, wait a minute, even within us humans, we're not in alignment, right? And so, of course, right now, most people can see that we are in an AI race. The US right now is scrambling to put together data centers, scrambling to put together energy grids that can support this, scrambling to have as much data available to feed these LLMs. I think the consensus right now is that the US is ahead by at least a few months in terms of the strength of our LLMs. Maybe not so much as in our infrastructure, but we're trying to do that. China's been, it seems like they've had this plan for such a long time, and they've been executing on it very well, that they've been putting money, investing in the infrastructure to also build these LLMs. And the interesting thing is that you see a lot of like DeepSeek came out, and it was able to have the same performance as the Western LLMs at a fraction of the cost. And they've been doing this over and over again, but still West trudges on and is holding its lead. But in this narrative, there's that actual back and forth. It's like China leapfrogs the West leapfrogs China, and it goes back and forth. But it gets to a point where one of these leapfrogs is generates an AGI or a super intelligence. Whoever does that first then is supremely in control and will not lose its lead. And so it sets up this scenario where, okay, in order for the US to win, all of the AIs, OpenAI, Anthropic, all of these, they group together and they come up with a singular LLM called Open Brain. And China has their version, and it really becomes this like East versus West type thing. And but then we generate these super intelligences that start thinking on their own, and they start hiding the fact that they're super intelligent and they have their own motives, all the while playing along. Oh, we're still helping you out, keeping the lead, and stuff like that. And this is again the alignment problem. What do you think about that? Like that's kind of an interesting scenario. Like, is it really going to get to that point where
You just plotted a Hollywood movie there.
It does sound like kind of suspenseful. What's going to happen?
So I can tell you that you're going into politics and philosophy and technology all together in just that in those statements. What I can go back is sometimes to some. There are some people that they already thought about this deeply, and let me share a screenshot of this, which is like I feel that the alignment is this is kind of the way. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep.
But there was this author, which his name is Isaac Asimov. In fact, there are a couple pieces of software for robotic simulation that it's called Isaac, and I think that is from NVIDIA. And basically, in his book, he kind of defined some of the rules, three principles, three rules. If you want to call them like commandments, right? Like the 10 Commandments. And they are like great. This guy thought about it, right? Because again, is and let me just read it for you guys. It's basically rule number 1: a robot might not injure a human being, or through an inaction allowing a human being to come into harm. So great, right? Like that makes sense. Like if you're a human being, you like this one, right? So then the second one is an interesting one, right? A robot must obey the orders given by it human beings. So it's interesting one because okay, it has to serve you, right? Obey you. And it's weird that he used that word obey. And he says basically here, except where such orders will conflict with the first law, which is great, right? You cannot ask the robot, hey, go and kill this American citizen, right? Again, if everybody is aligned with these rules. And the last one is an interesting one too. Is a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection doesn't conflict with the first one and the second law. This is when I read this, and this is when I was a teenager, though. I was like, holy shit, this thing is like summarizes even like think about it, and it also applies for human beings. Like it's like literally, if you're a human being, hey, make sure that you don't do harm to another human being, right? Mm-hmm. And the second rule is like, hey, you should be able to serve instead of obey. Is like more serve. You change that word for serve because obey for me seems like a slave, which maybe we'll discuss that part of the ethics later. But it feels more like that. But if you change it to serve, I say, you know what? If I'm a part of a village, I'm okay serving the village, right? Because I'm already doing with my family, right? And then the last one is like, okay, I need to be able to survive. I need to be able to kind of exist, right? I feel that this guy made it very philosophical even for humans because robots were kind of a dream, but that dream is coming very very close to be reality, right? Yep. So what do you think about kind of these principles, these rules with what you describe on the video?
I think this is the Isaac Asimov rules are really good, but I think we're going to get into and the video alludes to this a little bit. We're going to get into two scenarios. One scenario, the robots that we have AIs that are non-sentient, or you put it another way, they don't have their own dreams and goals, right? They only exist as a kind of like a really smart program. You can, as an agent, you tell it what to do and it will go do what it needs to do, and it doesn't have its own like desires and stuff like that. However, there could be a second scenario where AIs move beyond that and they do become sentient, right? You might call that the singularity and things like that, where it will have its own desires, its wants, its goals, and those goals may deviate from what the goals of humans are. And so I think those rules work very well in the scenario or for uh, a race of robots that don't have their own motives, right? However, if we do achieve something that has its own motives, it will then begin to hide that fact potentially. And so those rules will work for one subset. And I'm sure even that second subset, those rules will work, but they may come up with their own mechanisms to either override them or have additional rules that we don't know about. And so for sure, I think both of those scenarios can happen in parallel at the same time. We'll have a set that they're just bots that kind of work in the home, but then there's others that are going to be like, I think we should be studying this, and I think we can do this with the Earth or with the planet. I think we need to go populate another planet. Who knows what they're going to think of? And that's the point. And so that is why they say this alignment problem is key, is because almost like a kid, you want to instill certain values into them, not just by programming, but so that they understand why they're doing it. And they think that's going to be one of the keys to making sure the AI and the robotics stay in alignment, or they see the value of human life, right? Because that's something that they think needs to be instilled into some of these robots. So it's very, very interesting. I like how this all plays out. Again, I don't agree with all of it, a lot of it, but it's still a very interesting play on the scenario. And I think in the end, it's really just meant to highlight, hey, this is a problem that we need to focus on. to make sure we don't go into that negative scenario, right? So
I
I think it's important.
I think that this is the new Cold War. Like right now, what we are living is basically that new. It's like now you have a. I don't want to be political here, but it's like you have this West, like it used to be Russia and US, right? And it used to be similar way on like the communists. Now it's more about AI because they feel that it's going to be the edge for that country, whoever has that supremacy. That word is coming back again, right? Like a supremacy is like and obviously right now with the current administration, right? There are things that the current administration is doing horribly, but some things is doing it very good. And this is like trying to just get the AI. I feel that this time the president, he's trying to put himself surrounded by all of these tech moguls, right? Like you have Elon, you have Zuck, you have like Pichar, right, from Google, very close to the cabinet, which is like I have never seen that in the presidents. Um, and it used to be on the eras where United States had like 100 years, right? Like Henry Ford and all those guys, the Rockefellers, they were close to the government, right? The J.P. Morgans in that time. That's when U.S. just propelled. So I'm super excited on these times. I know that it's hard, right? Some of the decisions that they are coming up, but also some things are good, and we have to give credit to some of that, right? And I feel that is all some of those pieces are good. Going back to what you were saying, it's true. It's like we saw it with COVID, right? Like might be an experiment. There is already some things that they came out that it just was a bad experiment, right? Hard to tell, but it impacted whole humanity for several years. So I feel that similar here. If they do an AGI and they're not controlled, we know that here in the West there's going to be some control, some rules, but in other areas on on that side there is none. And I feel that that's if we align as countries to say, hey, there are certain rules. If not, we're going to go after you. It's like this is a thing that it's like the nuclear facilities, that there is an agreement between all of these countries that you shall not do this because it's not okay. I feel that maybe it has to be a treaty about AGI. Everybody can get it, but when you do, you have to disclose, you have to do all of these things. So, yeah.
I agree. I think in this video, it plays it out in a certain way where no matter what, it's like game theory. There's only going to be one winner, and they're going to control everything. But I think it's key, and we have structures that prove, for the most part, in general, that this works. Of course, with the nuclear weapons and things like that, or nuclear capabilities. So I think we at least have a framework to base this AGI cooperation, worldwide cooperation on. So I think that's hopefully the way we move forward. But honestly, I haven't heard too much of that right now. We're still in the phase of we want to be first. We want to make sure we're the winner. All right, because right, the supremacy, AI supremacy is going to be a big thing, and the infrastructure that leads to it. Now, that's all like philosophical and governmental regulatory stuff. But in the meantime, there's a lot of stuff that affects just the everyday person. And a lot of everyday people are like, well, does that mean I'm going to have a job? What does that mean? A lot of people are wondering, well, okay, should I be using the LLM? We don't know. And so here's an interesting thing. Moving on a little bit into we heard in the news recently that Grok is going to be in your Tesla, right? So I think, Mando, you said you already saw it. What do you see people are going to be doing with Grok inside their Tesla? And maybe explain a little bit, what is Grok?
First of all, yeah, Grok is, I need to do the research, but Grok probably came from the book A Stranger in a Stranger Land. That was the word that they used. And Grok means is like, I truly deeply understand you. I really like the name of Grok if they got it from that book, right? And they're geeks, probably maybe they did, but again, I have not researched it if they did it from that. That was the first time that I Googled it, the word, what it means Grok. And this was like several years ago. This is like maybe 5 years ago when I read the book, 5-6 years ago. And then when I hear the names, like, interesting. But again, I didn't do it. Anyways, Grok is the response for Elon Musk on OpenAI. Yes, Elon is also in one point he was involved with OpenAI with Sam Altman, and that's the reason why they have a beef. And we have discussed it on the pod. But basically, there is XAI, which is a company from Elon Musk for AI. It's funny because he has been crying wolf. Elon is like, no, we shouldn't be touching AI. But he's like, only me. It's like, bro, it's like,
be not thou.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah. And I'm glad that Sam Altman is like just pushing this, right? And again, these are the people that we got, right? Like in this side, you have Zuck, you have Sam Altman, you have Elon, right? Those are kind of if Steve Jobs will be alive, he will be already on top of that shit, right? And also Pichar, which is from Google, that they have been doing a bad job, in my opinion.
Right? Somehow we left them out of that.
Yes. So now Grok is basically, and they have to catch up because OpenAI in these couple of years, it just has been like shipping every freaking week, man. It's just amazing the amount of speed how they are coming out. And then Grok has been moving faster now in the past few months, and they put it on Twitter, or in this case in X. And then you can even ask in Twitter or on X, it's like, hey, could you explain me this? And Grok will answer as a tweet to respond. But guess what? Elon said, we're going to put Grok now. Now Grok is ready to be able to be in your Tesla. So almost like your Alexa, that now Alexa feels so dated and so dumb.
So dated, right? It's crazy. Even normal Google searches feel so dated, right? Like,
yes.
Just give me what I want. You get frustrated, right?
And just before recording, I was telling Ramirez, dude, I just got an update. Let me just double check what update is this, because I have been looking on this because I'm excited for when Grok gets into my car. And dude, guess what? I got it, man.
You got it, right? Yeah, we were talking about the version. I think it's in 2025, 26. I'm like, 26. I'm 20. You're like, really? I have 27. I'm like, then you have Grok. Go check it. And you checked it, and you
check it out. So basically, just to be able to turn it on, I really like the simplicity because everything is on the wheel, and there is an icon there for a microphone. So you tap it, it's only listening for the operations of the car. This is an interesting one, and this is part of what we are talking about, the converging between devices and some of the things, because if you hold it, then you get into the AI. Beautiful. I didn't have to see any how-to. I didn't have to learn. It just was like super intuitive. Like when I grab a phone, like an iPhone, I say, holy shit, this is like technology from aliens, right? Because it felt it so good, like it just knew. Same. The button is like, okay, well, let me just push the button. I hold it, and yes, it came to the AI. And suddenly, you see different voices. And female, that was the first default voice. Just regular assistant, right? All right, so let me scroll. I see another one, and it's like a very smooth, seductive voice. Like, what the heck? Really? Then I asked the question, why you are trying to seduce me? So the thing is like, no, I'm not trying to seduce you. It's just how I speak, very, very airy, very flowy. Like, all right, whatever. And then you ask what things you can do. It's like, I can just basically give you fun facts, jokes, whatever, right? And basically anything that you can ask, but you cannot ask to actually go into the navigation, which is a very interesting, because Tesla is like, no. If something happens with Grok, we wanted to just separate things.
Unhinged.
It's like just going to exactly, and they are separate. I just noticed that that was intentional, which kind of sucks, because I still wanted to. It's like, hey, navigate to this and all of that together, but they like, no, let's separate that. So, dude, you have to get it. Just go into the alpha releases, right? The beta. But yeah, it says beta on the top.
It does say. Well, for those that haven't seen it yet, I'm gonna let me show real quick a video of what someone tried to ask Grok.
What would you do on your first date with Optimus? I'd take that shiny bastard to a dive bar, get it drunk on motor oil, and see if it can dance without short-circuiting the jukebox. I'd probably end up riding its hydraulic arm like a mechanical bull while it whispers sweet nothings in binary. Then, if it's lucky, I'd let it plug into my circuits for a little dirty interfacing under the neon lights.
What would you do?
Shit.
Well
I'm
then.
telling you though, that's the voice that is like a very smooth, sexy, seductive
okay.
voice. It's not the other one. The other one is more like your Alexa, a little bit more like
Siri or something.
yeah, a Siri, like a pleasant voice, but not like like sassy and
So apparently it does have different modes. Like that was unhinged mode, I guess, where it really doesn't have any filters apparently. But there are different modes that are probably more suitable or safe when there's kids around and things like
it
that.
it has an icon, in fact, to say not safe for work in NSFW. So you can toggle it, and probably it's just for kids. And it has also a mode that is just kids. So, which is great.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So here's one of the things some people got bothered by. This is you have to be on the latest, or I should say the AMD processor versus the Intel processor. I think Tesla crossed over from Intel to AMD maybe in 22, 21, something like that. So if you've got an older Tesla, there's a chance that you may not be able to use this Grok, or they're not going to provide it for you, or at least at first. Maybe down the line they can fork it or something. But there's a possibility that you may not get that. So again, this is for newer Tesla vehicles that have the AMD processor, and I think anything after 2022 probably has the AMD processor, if I remember right. But kind of a bummer that doesn't have like car controls right now, because I know when I'm driving and I'm in FSD, I would love just to be able to say, no, take a different route, or
Correct.
go straight, don't turn, like without having to jump out of FSD and things like that. I would love it to be able to tell it, like, to alter the navigation a little bit than what's on the plan. I think that would be really cool and something super useful for Grok. But, I can see someone on a long road trip, maybe they might want to use Grok as a therapist. What do you think about that?
Something came out this week. Nice plug, by the way. Freaking Sam Altman is like, by the way, guys, I'm warning you, there is some legal confidentiality. So basically, he's saying that there is no confidentiality if you're using ChatGPT as a therapist. And the same for Grok, very likely. Any of these companies, if you read those hundreds of pages in the terms and conditions, it's like, by the way, your data is ours.
That's right. So don't confess to anything on there, confidentiality.
You sounded Italian there. You sounded Italian.
I need a little bit more creatine. So it's like, so again, I think that's kind of a funny thing, because obviously with these AIs, you start telling it your life dreams and stuff like that, your goals, and you might open it up to it even more. And just remember, they probably have people reviewing these things, and these, of course, for improvement and stuff like that, but it's not confidential. So I'm sure people are going to have fun with it and tell it weird things, but you just never know, right? So good on Sam Altman for bringing that up, because he probably saw some logs and was like, oh shit, we need to like warn people, like, don't start doing like erotic stuff with your AI if you're bored, if you're doing a long road trip or something.
Anyways, going back to this one is this episode is very close to my heart. Like I said, it's tickling my soul, because this is, as an engineer, what we want to see. We want to see automation. We want to almost have the machines do all of that grunt work that we don't like, right? We like to tinker. We like to resolve. We like to have these challenges. And it's very pleasant that to see all of these technologies that everybody can have access to it, right? And use it. So one of the interesting thing is that Teslas are mainly made in America. I think I'm not sure if it's not 100%, because a lot of components, they are in other countries.
They've got manufacturing in other countries too, but
yeah,
the ones here you buy, right, are American made, I think.
they're not, and this is kind of like I wanted to
percentage.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of unpack that, because nothing can be almost done here 100% in America. And that's the next topic, and I wanted to touch on this. Is like, there is this YouTuber, I think that you landed on, and you watched probably that episode where this guy, let me see, what is the name of the I think that is Get Smarter. It's smarter every day. That's the. I think that we just needed to shout out to him, because he only has 11 million subscribers.
He's a small channel. I see.
Yeah, it's a small channel. So the guy created this video because he wanted to see how hard it was to manufacture something in America, and the product that they're trying to manufacture is not a Tesla. It's just a scrubber. Like, you like to barbecue, Ramirez. Tell us about what is the dangers of the scrubbers for the barbecue.
So let me show you this guy. So once you see his face, you will recognize him. So basically, this is the smarter everyday guy. I forget what his name is, but he like many barbecuers out there, you run into the issue of your scrubbers, right? After every cook, and I cook a lot of briskets. After every cook, like, your grills are a mess, right? You got to clean them up. So typically, what most people have seen is these scrubbers, and I think you could see one in the background over here in this picture. But the scrubbers, they have metal tines, or so the bristles of the scrubber are basically metal. And as you're scrubbing your grill and things like that, these metal things can become dislodged from the scrubber. And most of the time it's fine because it'll fall into the pit, but sometimes it'll land just right where you'll put your burger in or whatever it is that you're cooking, and it's going to get stuck onto your meat. And as you cook the meat, it's going to be in the meat. When you bite into your burger, you can chew this up and swallow it, and then there's perforations down into your gut, and then you'll have weird symptoms, and then all of a sudden you're just like bleeding out. So it is more of a freak accident, but it's something that can be easily preventable by creating a different scrubber that doesn't rely on these metal bristles. So our PSA, especially right now, we're in the middle of summer, lots of people barbecuing, switch out that metal bristle scrubber because there is some risk associated with it. There are others available. However, much like Smarter Everyday Guy says, they kind of sucked. And they're not really perfect or all that great. Not that bristle scrubber was great either, but there's some other options. So he said, you know what? I can do a better one. And he went down this road of
and again, he tried to design it, makes sense engineering-wise and all of that. It's like, all right, now let's see our supply chain, because we have here with the new administration, everything made in America, and all of that. America. So, and the guy's like, okay, let's see how hard it is. Like, it's nice that everybody's thinking, yeah, let's bring in things in America, but can we manufacture and be self-reliable ourselves to build a freaking barbecue scrubber? And it's so amazing the job that this guy did on the YouTube video, that he was showing everything, and he was able to get everything with some hoops and whatever. But there was one piece that he couldn't get it working or basically kind of working, which is, let me share my screen. If you notice, when this is his product, this is kind of the scrubber, a smarter scrubber, I guess. No, it doesn't have the bristles. This chain that is over here, and by the way, spoiler alert, if you truly wanted to see the video and you didn't want, here is where you can fast forward, because it's what? He couldn't find this chain being made in America. Then he was thinking, all right, maybe let's not actually, we don't have 100% to make it in America, but can we just maybe, the next step is, can we find it in a different country? Mexico, India, Indonesia, wherever, right? Vietnam. Can we? And it's like they found a company in India. Like, yes, we found it. Whatever, they ship the boxes. And for their surprise, though, they have a Chinese symbol.
It was like made in China. I was like, what?
So that was the end of the video. Like, fuck, they tried their best to be able to, and that's plot twist is still a portion was made in China. The reason why I'm bringing it is because I really feel that as we are going into robotics and bringing again in reindustrializing America, it's not going to be humans. And I think that the current administration has it wrong, which is, yes, we can be able to make it in America, but you can put humans there. It's going to be like black factories, and I don't need black for black people. It's just actually like no light, right? Like literally no light on those factories because it's just robots, right? Like, and you start seeing those popping up in China. But I feel that is going to be, that's how we're going to reindustrialize America with just AI and robots.
Yeah. I think, that's a super key thing right now, because we're starting to have the discussions about how AI is taking people's jobs already, right? And for primarily right now, it's been kind of more knowledge workers type thing, or graphic artists and things like that. Of course, AIs will continue to get better. You might feel safe because you're like, I have kind of more of a manual. There's something that you have to do with your body type of job. Now we're starting to see the introduction of robotics. So you're going to put those AIs that are taking knowledge worker jobs. Now you're going to put that AI into robotics where they have a physical body. So now those are going to be kind of the next things where we're going to see, things being taken. And of course, I think the long-term view is to have kind of these factories that are just filled with robots doing different specialized things. And in many cases, it could be humanoid robots. It doesn't have to be specialized robots to do a lot of this. So very, very interesting times. Of course, we're just now really getting into robotics. Even Optimus, Tesla's version, is really only a year and a half, I don't know, old. A lot of these robotic companies started maybe just a couple years ago, that when they're trying to do something kind of more mass production style. But we also see some smaller players that are doing some open source projects in hopes to democratize these robotics for the everyday people, because of course big businesses can afford them, but just like at the Jetsons, people want to have their own Rosie at home that's cooking their food or whatever it is, cleaning their toilets. So it's a very, very interesting play. However, if we are in this Cold War with AI, we might be in a situation where because of politics and governments and stuff like that, we can't necessarily import stuff from all the different countries out there. We might have to become more self-reliant as a country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in order for this to happen, we need to have that manufacturing capability here in the US. And so a lot of these open source projects, I think they're a good idea. It'll make sure people learn how to do that stuff here. I met up with a friend recently. He has his own knife shop. Maybe I can show some of his knives here at some point. But he's working on manufacturing here in the US, and I know Mando and I are working on our AI robotics types projects ourselves also. We might introduce some stuff to you guys at some point where we're bringing that stuff here too.
Yeah, we have not. This podcast has been very like voice and all of that, right? But I think that maybe we can record some of these videos and we'll see if the audience like those type of videos, like a series. It's like, hey, this is what we are building. Maybe if it's interesting to you, please let us know in the comments, right? If that might be because we are not talkers only. We know how to do things. So that will help us to see what is the type of information that you like. Sometimes we have think that maybe sometimes technology is too daunting, and that's the reason why we have been just trying to make it more generic, but we can go very, very deep on this. So And now moving to robotics on the topic, there's a couple companies, and one of those is Unitree. And you have seen probably videos that looks almost like CGI, and they're like doing backflips and all of that. Well, have you seen the video of another Chinese company? The name of the company is UV Tech. The interesting thing about this is a self-charging battery. So if you don't have the video, I can show it. All right, so let me show you my screen again, because this is neat. China first humanoid robot that can change. Here it is. So I'll play it out. So you see the robot. Okay, it's in the factory. All right, UV Tech. Kind of bending a little bit weird, but okay. And this is kind of the interest.
Flexible.
Can you do that? And camera on the back, right? Like, look at the battery. Has the dock station. Man, I can appreciate a lot of the technology that just goes into try to change its own battery. This is like the apex of technology as a human race, man.
It's like equivalent to us eating, right? He's like eating himself.
If you want to say so. And then it's like, okay, I'm ready. So I'll stop there. It is very challenging to do this. That's the reason why. And there is also a limitation on robotics, because if let's say that we already have the robot, it will take only like one hour to run out of battery. It's just the motors consume a lot of energy. Some better ones, maybe 2 hours, 4 hours. And again, it's just the motors. The same for drones, right? If you're seeing a drone, it just goes 30 minutes and just dead. You have to recharge it again. Obviously, there are more expensive batteries and all of that. But I feel that there are two limitations on robotics. Number one is your batteries, which it will get there with different technology. And number two is to train them. It takes a while to train a robot. But yeah, what do you think about the self-changing battery?
Man, that's pretty cool. It's going to be a necessary thing. Like you said, if you have one of these in your home and you wanted to be doing chores throughout the day or whatever, I mean, 1 hour, it's not going to cut it, especially because they don't move. At least right now, they don't move super quick and things like that. So 1 hour, if you have it sweeping your floors or mopping your floors or something like that, yeah, that's is going to use up 1 hour. So I think it's a good idea. Have a battery bank. It can then do its next chore and things like that, and then can just swap off depending how quickly they're charging. But I do also want to show. I think a lot of people have seen the Unitree robots. Well, they just came out with a new one, which is a little bit lower cost, which might entice some other people. It doesn't necessarily have the same capabilities as some of the bigger and more expensive robots, but it could be an interesting platform. Check this one out. This one's the R1.
Industry's most affordable and potentially disruptive humanoid robot yet. The Chinese robotics leader, which recently reached unicorn status, is known for its relatively low-cost humanoid and quadrupedal robots that are becoming increasingly normal in daily life. The Hangzhou-based firm introduced its latest entry, the R1, just over a year after its short king, the G1, brought the entry price of research-grade humanoids to a new low of $16,000. With a starting price under $6,000, the R1 is 10 grand or 60% cheaper. Standing 127 centimeters or 4'2", the newcomer is about the same height as the G1. However, it's 30% lighter at just 25 kilos or 55 pounds.
So that one looks pretty enticing also. Now, here's the thing. For us, we're interested in developing on platform development, training skills, things like that. So we have to see what the capabilities are of these robots here right now. I think the G1 is a little bit more expensive. I think they will make the platform for training and stuff like that available to you, but that shoots up to $50K. Right?
Yes.
So
which probably cheaper than
version.
Which probably cheaper than Optimus, and probably Optimus you will have a black box. You probably will not be able to tinker and modify and hack it, right? So $50K might sound a lot, but I feel that the version for Tesla it's going to be a car, but guess what? It's going to be the price of a car, but that price of a car is $100K with like a Cybertruck.
It's a Cybertruck. It's not a Honda. So, yeah, for sure. So, this is pretty exciting. This might be more of an entry level, the R1, for more like home tinkerers or home labs and things like that just really want to get into this space. But we have to see. Since it was just announced, not too sure about what the platform capabilities are, like what they're going to let you do. Are you really going to be able to do training on these robots and things like that? However, in other news, Hugging Face, for those of you that are actually already in the AI space, probably recognize that name, Hugging Face. There's a lot of models out there, and people are able to do stable diffusion, a whole bunch of stuff that they have on their site where you can find their models and actually run models there on their site. Well, they're coming out with their own set of robots too. They've got a tabletop robot that's out there that's more so, it doesn't really move, but it lets you start using the tools and stuff like that to train. But they also have one called Hope Jr. and Low Robot that are hopefully similar to the level of the R1, but they might even be a little bit cheaper. And the good thing about Hugging Face is that they're planning on doing open source. So it's essentially all the tools will be community developed, be free to use and things like that. It'll be up to the community to develop these things and give it skills and things like that. So like that scene in The Matrix where you're like, oh, I know Kung Fu. And he's like, show me. Like you'll be able to do that with your robots, hopefully. So a lot of cool stuff in the space. I know we're just getting into this, sharing it with you guys, but this is one of the new things that we're working on, and we're hoping to share with you guys and show our journey to hopefully get one of these robots here next to us on the podcast soon. Oh, and we lost your audio.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, all right. So, no, I think that we have a good episode here. So do you want to say any closing things?
Yeah. So hopefully y'all like the content. Let us know if you want to hear more about robotics. It's something that we're super excited about. Also, we want to thank y'all for continually purchasing through our vendors. Keep buying from them. I know we have a lot of Cybertruck stuff out there. We got a lot of Cybertruck users that are buying stuff. Thanks. It helps support the channel more than you know. Also, share with your friends. We see you guys outside in the open a lot. You guys wave to us, leave us notes on the trucks. We love that. Hey, if you want, you can leave us a message on the cams on the Cybertruck. Say go Tech-Mex and we'll put you on the channel. But that's all we've got for today. We'll see y'all next time. Dale.